Hello, welcome back. Vector Graphics, Adobe Illustrator. Final assignment day. Very easy. It's going to be rad. It's just based off of something you've done before. And if you know how to copy and paste, you will be able to complete this project. Again, the reminder, this course closes next week, like Monday. So everything's got to be in. If you got something and they need to turn it in, it's got to be turned in. Everything is open from 6 to 15. Get it turned in by Monday. All right. I can't do anything. I can't extend things. I have to get the grades into the college, and the college is closed for 2 days. So get your stuff in. If you don't have it in, I will warn you again on Monday. I will give you another heads up. But there'll be one more attendance. This is the 15th, the 16th. You'll have an attendance item to do. As we always do, you do it as soon as we come to class to make sure you did it. What does a grid help with design? Oh, we just talked about grid in a different class. Organizing and aligning elements. Ding dong, got that one done. Do all 5. Look them up if you need to. Use the studio session, mid-session project review if you need to. On our way out, as this is, like I said, we're closing out of this course. Final assignment from me, portfolio builder number 6. I have to adjust this to say 6. I moved some things around. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Just click on it. Let's talk about it. Remember them icons I had you do about your favorite interests? We need a place to put those. Let's put them in a Rubik's Cube. There we are. So for this assignment, you're just going to download the assignment as we always do. Ignore all the numbers and letters I got on it. Things change and move around over time. And you'll see everything is on here. You can lock what you need to lock. You can dig around, look around. This is what it would look like if you got a file from a company to create a cardboard cube. So you could print this at your house. And I want to talk through this. This is layers and stuff like that. So what we start with, I don't know what's on 6. 6 is just unerased layer. Let's turn off everything. Yeah, 6 is nothing. You can delete 6. What we have is it's glue. So the top layer says glue, green. These are indications to the printer of where I would have glue placed on the document when it's being built. They may have machines do this, may have people do it, whatever. But when you get a die line and you're doing extreme stuff with it, folds and glue and die cut, you have to indicate everything for the printer. So that's why we make a layer, and it is glue, green. Then we have the die line. The die line is what the printer will use to cut out or stamp out the final print. So they literally, they build a special die, it's called, and it's all these lines made out of metal on a piece of wood. They may have updated this system, but I think it's still pretty standardized. And it's literally, trying to think of have you ever seen one of them apple cutters where you push it down on the apple and it comes out in 8 slices and the core's in the middle. It's almost like that, but they make like a big knife. And when they stamp down, they can cut out like 100 at a time. And so 100 come in on this machine pushes down, lifts up, and it cuts out the blue. It's a giant like metal stamp. These blade. It's like a giant blade. It's really kind of hard to describe, but that's what it is. So you get this blade, and that's the die line. Then another machine where these yellow lines are, and I'm sorry, it's probably some people it's hard to see, but I'm using kind of industry standard colors. There's yellow dotted lines. In another machine, or it sometimes can be built into the die, is the yellow lines get instead of a very sharp piece of metal, they get a rounded piece of metal, and it indents into the paper. Like, I mean, they're pushing so hard that it indents into the paper, and it makes a line to make it easier to fold. And I think these have to run through maybe a single shot. So that's what the fold lines are. So we have to indicate to the printer everything we need to have done when we're working on a project. So that's what all of this stuff is. When you're like, why is all that stuff there? This is what it would look like. This is a setup for somebody who wanted to have a cube printed with glue put on it. A foldable cube printed with glue. And you'd have to go through this whole process. And this is all done in Illustrator. These die lines, man, they're always done in Illustrator. So then, as always, when we talk about the backgrounds then, as you can see, when I put on my background black extends way past that die line to adjust for any die line stamping shift. There's a little shift. There's extra black everywhere, so we're not going to end up with like a weird white edge or anything like that. And then what I want you to do, where's this background one? Let's find out what's here. Select all. Oh, that's just another die line. Oh, background art. All right. These are the stickers. And then I put like the reflections is just this little line I put in there. See that? Whoop. Just trying to fancy things up. So for this project, think of your Rubik's Cube. A Rubik's Cube. I hope everybody knows what a Rubik's Cube is. If you don't, let me know. It's an international sensation from the 80s. They still make them. They give them away. It's a game puzzle where you move cubes around a cube. It's very fun. But what you're going to concentrate on is the stickers and then the sides. And what I want you to do is take those designs that you created, those 6 icons, and place them in to create a very colorful, as dare I say, a Rubik's Cube. It's all about you. So this would be a design. It's all of your favorite interests, and it's done in the style of a Rubik's Cube. So all you're doing now is copying and pasting and resizing. So figure out a system. What system would work for you? You can click on the stickers. They're all in place. So you're going to maybe, you can lock everything out, maybe grab all these and be like, this side is going to be, and it should match your stuff, right? I'm going to, yellow. So turn all those base parts yellow or whatever the background is on your icon. And then you just can go in and on side 1, you open your old file, you copy and paste in your icon. And then you want your icon placed on the squares. They should all be the same direction. I would just place them in like all the same direction, facing up. Wouldn't worry about like, because it's a Rubik's Cube, because you can switch the sides. So place them all in face up. I wouldn't worry about doing these upside down, because it all depends on how you place the cube. There's only going to be one right side up, no matter how you place the cube. So don't worry about anything like that. And when you place them, make sure you get things perfectly centered. A lot of this is, you can do it by hand. You can double check. You can, if you wanted to make more grids, this is where you're going to take all of that design knowledge. Be like, okay, I want to make sure I know where the center of each block is. And look, if you do that, if you create your guides, you don't have to do it for like all of them. They start multiplying. Like, oh, if I do 3 of them, all 9 gets all, or if I do 6, it's not even a full 6. All of them get that center mark. And I'm just clicking on the sticker part and making my mark. And then I know where the exact center is. Now, as I don't have a icon right now, what I want to show you is when you place in the icon, make sure relatively you give it room. Let me change the color of this. That would be probably an acceptable amount of distance, maybe a little bit bigger. But what we don't want, don't place in your icon and have it be touching the edges. I don't want your icon touching the edges. I want a nice little bit of distance in there between the edges. And then I want your icons perfectly centered, where you just hold that shift and drag over, shift and drag over, and get them perfectly centered in each square. I don't know why that one pulled sideways there. Oh, I really put that guide in poorly. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I don't have much else to say. Sorry, a bunch of guys decided to start setting up their ladders outside the door, like right outside the door, right when I started. They must have just got off of lunch. So we want our icons perfectly centered on each one. And we want each area to be a different color, just like a Rubik's Cube. I feel like I need to show it, just in case. That's a Rubik's Cube. Bright colors, 6-sided. You don't have to standardize. It can be any color background you want, but you'll need 6 different colored backgrounds, just like a Rubik's Cube. So you can go like teals and aquas, whatever it may be. This is all about you and your icons. You're going to have to resize your icons and make them smaller. So one thing to keep in mind with that is there's a special setting. So if you go to settings on a Mac, it is under here. And I think on a PC, it's under file at the bottom. And you want to make sure that there's one thing clicked in your Illustrator, and that's scale, stroke, and effects should be clicked. The reason being, if you have a line in your Illustrator file and you don't have this turned on, something funky happens. And I'll show you what that is. I'm just going to do new, and I'm going to do like a little 4x4. And I'm going to create just some arbitrary shapes. I'm going to have just no fill. And this one, I'm going to have a stroke like that. And then say I put like a line through it, and I'll put a stroke like this. And I'm going to do another one, and the stroke is going to be smaller. Three different stroke weights. So this is why I tend to not use a lot of strokes when I design. I'll change them to shapes. As if I'm like, I'm going to group this, Command G, and then I'm going to copy it. So it's 4 inches by 4 inches. And I'm going to go to my little design here, and I'm going to delete these dots. And I'm going to go to, side 1, and I'm going to paste. And I got my X's. So what's going to happen now? I have to make it smaller to fit that. So I only have to do it once, and I'll grab it, and I'm going to scale it by the corner. And I'm going to shift and all. But look at what happened. That's not right. It doesn't look anything like it's supposed to. Well, what happened is the strokes and effects did not scale when I made it smaller. So if you end up seeing that and you're like, I don't know what the problem is, you need to go and change your settings. And it's under the general one. And there's one called scale, stroke, and effects. Now, if I do the same thing and paste this in and I make it smaller, it scales it, trying to move it up to the right, to look like it's supposed to still look. So this is a proper representation of what I originally did, but on a smaller scale. This, as you can see, is completely wrong. So that's the problem. So if you, drew something, which, use the pen tool, and you have like a shape like this, whatever it may be, and you made a thick stroke, you need to make sure that when you bring it in, that you have that scale, stroke, and effects. So when you place it on the object, I just want a little bit smaller, it will be scaled and look correct. So that's one of those things you have to watch out for. I honestly don't know why mine wasn't turned on. Usually I always have that turned on. Every once in a while, I'll turn it off. There'll be a reason to turn it off and turn it on. I think that's why they give you that option for an Illustrator. So that's one thing to keep your eye on. So what you're going to do is take your image, your design. You can include the background, but I would color pick the background because I made these nice little rounded circles that look like stickers. I drop the background color to match your icon. Copy your icon just simply by copy, paste, and if you see when you make it small, when you hold down shift, if everything looks good, you're good. If you end up everything starts to get fat and weird, undo, go to your settings, general, and make sure scale, stroke, and effects. That's it. That's all we have to do. Yes.
All of them?
Yeah.
Oh, one side, one image, and then every image has its blocks.
Yeah. So yellow would be one whole side of like one icon.
Okay.
And then the 9 pieces here is another icon. 9 pieces, another icon. 9 pieces, another icon. So yeah, it's an unscrambled Rubik's Cube at this point. So each side has only one icon perfectly centered in there with a colored background so we can differentiate each side. That's what we need to do. Any other questions? All right. That is the final assignment. I will be around. I'll be here today. I'll be in on Monday. Monday, I will just do a quick check-in to make sure everybody knows what's going on as we close out this 8-week course. Like I said, make sure you check all your assignments. We're closing out. Let me do one thing here. I have it. March 18th. Everything is due March 18th. Any later than March 18th, well, it just close out. This, you won't see anything show up. This class will disappear on March 18th. So make sure you get everything in. Let me know if you have questions, comments, concerns. I am here until 4:15 today. I will be here from 9 until 4:15 Thursday. Friday, there's a computer lab open. I think they're closed Saturday and Sunday, sadly. Monday, I will be here from 9 until 2:15. And by chance, what day is that? And let's just check in my calendar. I want to make sure you have all the opportunity possible. And on the 17th, I will be here from 9 until 4:15. 18th, the school is closed. The 19th, I will turn in your grades. So there you go. Let me know if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Just get things all finished up and you'll be in a great point. So there you go. Just please reach out if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. I'll talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye. Yes. I saw a hand go up. Maybe that was a miss hit. All right. I'm taking that as a miss hit with the hand going up. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.